Every empire begins with a story, and ends when it forgets why it was written. Rome didn't rise overnight. It started as a small city of farmers, traders, and soldiers, driven not by wealth, but by survival. Discipline, unity, and purpose built its foundation. As centuries passed, those values turned Rome into a force the world had never seen, and at its heart was a simple belief that Rome was eternal. Every empire starts with that belief, that this one will be different. Rome's power didn't come from marble or swords, it came from its economic machine. Trade routes across the Mediterranean brought endless wealth, taxes funded massive public works, and new colonies supplied cheap labor, grain, and gold. This economic momentum made life easy, maybe too easy, because as wealth grew, so did comfort, and comfort slowly replaced purpose. Centuries later, the same thing happened in Britain. The Industrial Revolution made it the workshop of the world. Ships from every ocean carried British goods and British debt. By 1900, the pound sterling was the world's reserve currency, just as the US dollar is today. Every empire thinks its system will last forever, until it starts believing it doesn't have to change. By the mid-20th century, America inherited the crown of global leadership. It built roads across continents, sent men to the moon, and created the largest middle class in history. Its currency became the backbone of world trade, its military, unmatched, its economy, unstoppable, its culture, everywhere. And just like Rome, its strength was rooted in belief, the belief that democracy, innovation, and capitalism would always sustain it. But history whispers a warning. Every empire begins by serving its people, and ends when its people serve the empire. By the time Rome reached its peak, wealth flowed into the city like a river. Massive villas, exotic food, and grand games distracted citizens from the cracks forming beneath. When prosperity becomes normal, societies assume it's permanent. That's the moment the cycle quietly shifts, from expansion to consumption. Economically, this stage looks like unstoppable growth. Rome's elites hoarded land and raised taxes on the poor. Britain expanded colonies faster than it could control them. And in modern America, the signs are subtle but familiar. People stop asking how wealth is made. They only care that it exists. Markets become casinos. Economies turn from productive to reactive. Rome distracted its citizens with bread and circuses. Modern societies don't need colosseums. They have screens. When citizens stop paying attention, power stops being accountable. Rome declined one small compromise at a time. The fifth stage of every empire's life is when wealth stops being earned and starts being engineered. Rome debased its currency by mixing silver with cheaper metals. Britain printed notes backed by debt instead of gold. And America turned the dollar into a symbol of faith, not value. Governments learned to borrow from the future to pay for the present. The more a society depends on artificial money, the more fragile its foundation becomes. When trust is the only thing backing value, all it takes is one crisis to crack it. Every civilization faces its reckoning not when it grows poor, but when it grows none. Rome didn't fall because of one invasion. It fell because it lost faith in itself. By the 5th century, its army was filled with mercenaries, its politics with corruption, and its economy with inflation. Citizens stopped defending what they no longer believed in. The world's greatest empire became a memory carved in stone. When Britain's empire began fading after World War II, it still had knowledge, culture, and science, but not the resources to maintain global dominance. Its wealth had been built on debt. Its industries couldn't compete with new economies. America today stands in that middle chapter, not fallen, but distracted. Still powerful, but less united. Still wealthy, but less productive. Still admired, but no longer unquestioned. History isn't predicting collapse. It's reminding us that every empire reaches a point where it must choose, reform or repeat. This is where trust breaks faster than systems can repair. The danger isn't invasion, it's division. When citizens fight each other more than they protect the system, the empire begins to turn inward, just like Rome did. Yet within that chaos lies a choice: reinvention or ruin. Not every empire vanishes completely, some reinvent. Rome evolved into Byzantium, Britain transformed into a financial hub. And America, if it learns from its past, can evolve again. The cycle doesn't demand destruction, it demands awareness. If a nation remembers why it rose, innovation, unity, and courage, it can rewrite its own stage in history. History's greatest pattern isn't about fall, it's about forgetting. Empires don't die from outside threats, they die from internal blindness. So the next time someone says, "It could never happen here," remember Rome's marble ruins, Britain's empty docks, and the echo of every great nation that once thought the same. America is not at the end of the story, but perhaps standing in the middle of one it's already written before. History doesn't punish nations that fail, it punishes those that refuse to learn.